Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
And I was always the guy in the band that was doing all the business. Everyone else, wanted to be the stars, and they would, show up, and we would rehearse, and we'd write these songs, and we'd go to the studio, and we'd do all the albums and everything. But when it came time to book the gigs, when it came time to do the merch, when it came time to do all of the, making the records and putting them in record stores, it all ended up on my lap. So.
Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Today's episode brought to you by Willamette Valley Christian Supply of Albany, Oregon. For great books, gift ideas, and music, go to Willamette Valley Christian Supply. Also, by the MBVA building of Lebanon, Oregon. For excellent shared business office space, check out MBVA. Hello everybody, Russ here with another episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. So glad you joined us again today, and I am so excited for my guest today, Chris Stone. He is a new friend, and what a great guy. We had time to chat now a couple times, and he has been just so supportive of everything I'm doing. So first, I just want to start off today and say, hey, Chris, how's it going?
What's up, Russ? You said new friend, but we've only spoken a couple of times, and it feels like we're already old friends.
It really does. No, I mean,
yeah.
And when you click with people and you really connect quickly, you're definitely one of those kind of people, and I appreciate you already. So, hey, I want to talk some more, but first I just want to remind everybody that I'm Russ Hedge. I'm a coach, motivational speaker. I'm an inspiration specialist. I'm obviously a podcaster of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. And I'm also the author of Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. There we go. Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. That's right. Chris has already got it down. And so I'm so excited about how the book release is going. It's out officially on Amazon now and all online booksellers. So you can go there and find it today, and hopefully it will inspire you. If you want more information on me, the best way is to go to russhedge.com. I keep it real simple. Just go to russhedge.com. It has all my links to my connection points, and you can even schedule time to chat with me, and I would love to get to know you. So without any further ado, I want to say hey to Chris again. And Chris, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Chris Stone. I have a company that I started called Cast Ahead. I'm over at castahead.net, and I work with motivated entrepreneurs, business people like Russ Hedge, and people that probably are fans of yours, Russ, and listen to this podcast to tell their stories through podcasting, video, and other mediums. I just love I'm honored to be on the show today, Russ. Even after a short time of knowing you, all of a sudden, boom, I schedule a Zoom call just like you said, and here I am being recorded and being pumped out to the world. It's a beautiful thing.
I appreciate that. I really am impressed with the video and the things that you do that I've seen.
Oh, thank you.
Give us a little backstory on where you started and how you got involved in that.
Yeah, sure. So I have always been a part of music. My father played the trumpet and listened to a lot of jazz, a lot of big band. And so music was always a part of my life growing up. And so, of course, that translated into me playing music. And I ended up being in bands when I was in, throughout junior high and then high school. And of course, you get stars in your eyes and you think you're just going to be some, glorious rock star or whatever. I was just an idiot kid and tried to pursue that quote unquote dream. And so, growing up in the Detroit area, there wasn't a lot of music things going on, even though I was in some bands and whatnot. And I decided that what I was going to do while still attending college was to pursue a music career in Nashville, even though I was not necessarily a country fan, at least at the point. And so I moved there. I started to go to school there at Belmont University in Nashville, and I there graduated and have a music business degree. Because what happened was I was in all these bands, and I was always the guy in the band that was doing all the business. Everyone else, wanted to be the stars, and they would, show up, and we would rehearse, and we'd write these songs, and we'd go to the studio, and we'd do all the albums and everything. But when it came time to book the gigs, when it came time to do the merch, when it came time to do all of the, making the records and putting them in record stores, it all ended up on my lap. So I ended up being pretty good at it. And that translated into a job at BMG, which eventually merged into Sony. And I grew up and decided to cut all my long hair and marry my wife, Sonia. And we moved down to Atlanta when I became branch manager for Sony Music in Atlanta in '99. And so I realize the story may be longer than the podcast was expected, but I've always had an interest in new media and digital. And of course, my career in the music business was started way before there was such a thing as digital music. And so I've worked with music artists of all magnitude, and what I really enjoy doing and what I get really passionate about is to take someone else's creative dream and really try to magnify that. And that could be anything from developing a marketing plan, or, putting together a concept to drive and market a record, or any of that kind of stuff. And so when I started Cast Ahead after I left Sony 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, was, people would say to me, like, well, you went from the music business and dealing with artists like, the Foo Fighters and, whoever else. And now you're in the podcasting space, and you're working with, and I was like, there's really no difference, because you're dealing with creative, people and content creators. And in the end, no one wants to know how a podcast is made or what works on the back end and all of the stuff that goes into all of that stuff. They just want a podcast. No one wants to know how a video is made to introduce something. They just want that video. They just want to look good. And that's something that I had been doing for 25 plus years with various music artists. So the transition to doing that here in Atlanta was seamless for me.
Well, that's just incredible. I mean, what a great background and all that you've done. And obviously you're miles ahead of me, because it's amazing that I can even put together my podcast. I have more of a creative right brain, and I just, I would not have been the guy probably handling the band. I would have been the guy going, hey, cool, let's just go. But,
well, that's what it's about, is about just starting and going and doing. A lot of people that I deal with as a podcast consultant, too many people get hung up on the microphone and what type of headphones and what's the best camera that I need for this and what's the best. I was like, stop talking about that stuff. Let's talk about what you're talking about. Right. We'll worry about that other stuff, right? And so that's what you did, right? You said, I have something to say. I want to do this, so I'm just going to go. And I think, you and I, when we were talking before you hit the record button, we talked a lot about that, is people get too hung up on all this other stuff, and they just got to go, and they just got to do the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one. And pretty soon after you develop those reps, you're good. You got a really good podcast. You're Russ Hedge. You got a book that's come out, and everybody's coming to get it signed at the coffee shop. So I think a lot of people are just too hung up on that stuff, and you learned early on. It's like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go, and then I'm going to go again, and I'm going to go again, and now you're at this point, and it's awesome.
Yeah, well, that is definitely the key. I think I've always felt that way. I mean, you just got to get started. You got to get moving. And, people, I think that when you have lots of energy, and I have a little bit of energy, it's contagious, and people want to be around energetic, positive people. And there's a lot of people that are really struggling this year, especially. And like my book, for example, I don't think it could have come out probably at a better time, because I had already formed the concept before COVID ever happened. But then when it happened and I was writing it, obviously that was woven within the book as well, because it was so relevant. And I think it's been such a monumental time in our lives that it's going to go down as, as historic event. It's not going to be like, it's going to be a timeless event because it's how it's affected people. And I think people need that ability to move through things. And that's no matter what time you're in, there's always times you got to overcome challenges. You got to move forward. And like I said, I mean, I really had no idea what I was doing, but I was willing to start and get moving. And I think we're all that way to some extent. And some of us are more talented like you than that already have a lot of background. But I mean, you had to start somewhere.
And there's a lot of things, and if I'm going to be transparent and vulnerable, there's a lot of things I know I'm not good at, and I know I need to go anyway. It's not, here we are talking on a podcast and what I do, but there's other things in my life that I need to be able. I got to take that second step. I got to take that third step. I got to keep going. It's not just about, a podcast. It's like, I admittedly, if somebody's Googling me and they're listening to this podcast and it's 2020, because, somebody's going to listen to this 30 years from now, Russ, if it's 2020 and you're listening to this and you go and you look up my YouTube channel, it doesn't have very many videos on it. I don't have very many subscribers. I know I've got to get better at that. I've got to take those next steps. What's preventing me from doing that YouTube channel? Oh, I want it to be great, right? What's stopping me from doing more videos on the YouTube channel and just getting going and getting better and taking those next steps? So right. I think it's across the, everyone has those things. They just have to admit what that is, prioritize what's most important to them and start taking those steps where they should.
Well, what I think is so amazing about you, Chris, is, this podcast is all about how amazing people connect. I'm all about connection. And I think that we talked about community building and all the importance of relationship building. You are definitely a great connector, and you have helped other people connect through their podcasts and through everything from their music through Sony days to where you are now. And I just think that's amazing because that ability takes you so far. And I think that a lot of times too, you have to realize that, like you and I talked about before, people are looking for authenticity. They're looking for connection. People right now are starved for connection. And if you are able to give them a little bit of that, it goes a long ways. And it also not only covers up your imperfections, but like you and I talked about, some of that authenticity of just making mistakes is what people want to see. They want to see real people out there. What do you think reality shows are so popular for? Everybody likes to see what it's really like. Yeah. Supposedly.
Right.
Behind the scenes, right?
Exactly. Well, and I like what you said earlier about surrounding yourself with other positive people. And I think if everyone just sort of kind of wallows in the mire of what's going on, and of course I realize there's some things that are going on, and if you've been affected by the pandemic and all of that, I'm sensitive, very much to that. But I think, it's the proverb, right? Iron sharpening iron. And I think, if we're surrounding ourselves with people who are, where that tide is rising all of the ships, find somebody in your life that has that positive energy, like that you can feed off. Russ just is like, set up a Zoom meeting with me and I'll just hang out and talk to you for 15 minutes. He's not lying. It happened. I did it. I'm here. I'm testing. That's my testimony. This is happening. So, it's like something like that it's important to just don't be alone. We should not be alone. Just, reach out to someone, surround yourself with someone that can help lift you up and be positive and connect. And that I'd love that Russ, that's really what you're about, is connecting people. And you said something I hadn't heard before. What was it? You were an inspiration
specialist.
Inspiration specialist. That's the first time I've heard that, and that is awesome. I like that's like the best business card ever, right? Russ Hedge, inspiration specialist, that's killer, man.
Honestly, if I boil my life down to my number one why after God and my family, it's to inspire and encourage people, no matter what I'm doing. And that's taken on tons of different hats actually over the years. Well, not tons, a few different hats over the years. But really whether it's been through ministry stuff I've done, through sales and marketing stuff I've done. My goal is to inspire and encourage people. And I think one thing you said, life is really all about momentum. And what you said about getting around positive people, if you feel like you're lacking momentum, you people everybody that's watching today, if you feel like you're lacking momentum, you're lacking positive, good things in your life, like Chris said, you need to get around positive people that have momentum moving forward, because really life is all about forward motion. It's moving forward, momentum. John Maxwell will say failing forward. Don't worry about failing, because you know what? You're going to fail. You're going to have mistakes. You're going to goof up, but fail forward, keep moving forward. And you know what? You're going to get around people that have the same mindset that are really going to make your life all that much better.
Yeah, man. And it's free, right? You can go look up John Maxwell right now on YouTube, and he's got some killer free stuff. And instead of like, sitting in front of whatever, other stuff that may be just kind of, whatever, mindless or not so positive, pop in some John C. Maxwell, pop in something that's going to feed your positivity stomach a little bit more than that, and just be careful and mindful of that, just so you can, make sure you don't get so bummed out. You surround yourself with positive people, and start taking steps forward like that, and be an inspiration specialist. Man, I love it.
Well, you're going to have to be my promotion manager now, because
okay, deal.
The words. There we go. Well, hey, believe it or not, our time is over, but I know that people are going to want to know more about Chris. So tell us how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, you can go to castahead.net. That's the business. But I mean, if anybody's listening here, you can connect with me on LinkedIn as well, which is I'm Chris Stone, or I think my LinkedIn thing is Chris Stone ATL, because there's a few other Chris Stones, believe it or not, Russ. Believe it or not, there's a few other of us. So, but yeah, find me, connect with me there. I'd love to, to help you out if you're looking to, kind of get past the mind junk that could keep you from doing a podcast or doing, content creation or whatever. And I also do a show on Amazon Live called Dealcasters Live with our buddy Jim Fuse.
Great show.
And yeah, thank you. And we had a special guest star, Mr. Russ Hedge, promoting his book, Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose.
There you go.
But the blooper was Choose the Life You Live, or I think that was the blooper that was on your video promo.
That was great. Well, I do really appreciate you. I'll make sure and link to all that in the show notes. And we're obviously going to be lifelong friends from this point out. And so, thank you everybody for tuning in today. I know that Chris added value to me, and so I know that you received value from today. Appreciate y'all watching. And until we talk again, we'll see you soon. Have a great day and a great life. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.